We have got several winter storms that are going to be on the way as we go into the upcoming pattern, and I'm going to be breaking down all of the latest information regarding those systems as we get into this upcoming live stream here. So without further ado, I want to go ahead and give you a look right here. This is with the European model on your screen right here, as we're going to be giving you a look at future radar as we go through the next several days. We're going to start with the near-term winter storm, and then I'm going to break down at least an overview on what we can expect as we go towards next week with those following winter weather setups. Thank you to everybody who's in this live stream, whether you're watching it live or you're watching it after. Make sure you're hitting that like button right down below to show the support, and if you're new to the channel, of course, always make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and jump right into it here as we're going to play things out. Let's start with where we are right now. It's Friday evening as I'm doing this live stream. As we go through the rest of this evening, we're going to continue to watch snow moving out of parts of the Rockies and stretching on out here into parts of the north central plains with this next winter storm. That's also going to be, as you can see, pulling moisture up into parts of the Midwest and Ohio Valley, with at least some level of a chance for some rain into those zones as we go into the overnight hours of tonight. All this moisture is going to come together and form that solidified winter storm by the time we get to the end of our Saturday, especially as we go through the Saturday afternoon time frame. Snow, some of which could be more on that moderate side, at least moving through parts of Minnesota, then down into Wisconsin and Michigan as we go from around midday to the mid to late afternoon time frame. Down here into parts of the mid and lower Mississippi Valley, stretching over into the Ohio Valley. A big area of rain that's especially going to encompass parts of Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. And then you can also see, as we extend on over here into parts of the mid-Atlantic, going to be watching the threat for some freezing rain as you go over here into a place like Maryland and Virginia into our Saturday afternoon. With this particular system, you're going to notice the freezing rain line is going to trend a little bit further north along the warm front as we go through Saturday evening and into the early part of our Sunday. That's going to send this moving on up into parts of Pennsylvania. On the north side of that, heavy snow coming through New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, down into parts of Massachusetts, and then down there into parts of Connecticut and Rhode Island. We're going to be watching maybe even Long Island, briefly seeing some snowfall there that could be on that heavier side. And then back down here through the Ohio Valley, stretching down into parts of the south central U.S. Going to be watching a mainly rain threat out of this particular system. You can see snow continuing through a lot of the northeast, maybe turning to ice in a place like New York City, flirting with that ice in a place like Providence, Rhode Island, and Hartford, Connecticut. But staying all snow in Massachusetts with this event, staying all snow in New York with this event. Same goes into parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. Whatever you see, it is going to be falling as flakes, and you're not going to be looking at much of an ice threat out of this particular event. By the time we get towards around Sunday afternoon, maybe some lingering rain showers down here in the south central U.S., but other than that, we're watching a lot of the United States clearing out by the time we go into next week. By the time we get towards Monday, though, and then into Tuesday, that's when our next winter storm is likely to kick up. There's your European model solution of it. There's your GFS. You can see there's a little bit of differences. Euro, GFS by Tuesday at 1 p.m. Euro, GFS. But overall, it looks like a pretty elongated system. Will especially bring some snow as you come on over here into parts of the mid-Atlantic regions, and then eventually move on up into areas to the north and east from there. Before I get into any other details regarding that system, though, I do want to jump on over here and go back to the National Digital Forecast database so we can look at some of the forecasted snowfall amounts for that winter storm expected to hit parts of the northern and eastern U.S. as we go through the next few days, or really just through tomorrow and into Sunday. Let's pull this graphic up. There you go. So you can see some of these forecasted snow totals as you come on up here out of parts of South Dakota and North Dakota and into Minnesota. Looks like about the southern half of South Dakota, looking like as we go through especially the rest of tonight and then into our Saturday morning, picking up an additional on top of whatever snow may already be on the ground, 2 to 5 inches of snow in a lot of spots. And as you get there closer to that Minnesota border and the border with northeast North Dakota, a few spots there picking up more like 6 to 7 inches of snowfall. Similar deal about the northeastern half of South Dakota is going to be dealing with about 2 to 4 inches of snow. Some spots getting closer to 5 to 6 as you get closer to that extreme northeastern border of this state. And as you get through Minnesota, you can see who gets that heaviest swath of snow there, looking like it's going to stretch right through the central parts of the state, coming through places really especially around and just north of Minneapolis up to St. Cloud, back towards Fergus Falls, points in between. Going to be the spot where we pick up some of the heaviest snow there into Minnesota. And then as we stretch on over here into the Great Lakes region in terms of our snow forecast, it's not going to be too incredibly heavy as you get through a lot of Michigan. It's going to be a pretty moderate round, but Traverse City down to Mount Pleasant, Saginaw, points in between, and then on up into the Upper Peninsula. As you can see based on this forecast, all those blues indicating a widespread 3 to 5 inches in a lot of these zones, and even the Upper Peninsula will be able to pick up upwards of a couple of inches of snow. And then, as we shift on over here into the northeast U.S., what you're noticing with all these totals is that they've definitely uptrended from that last video when we were looking at ensemble guidance. It was being a little on that conservative side, as it always does. Here are more of your final forecast type predictions here, although we'll get that real final forecast as we go into tomorrow for this region. As you come through a lot of central and southeastern New York, these purples indicating that about 2/3 of this state picking up about 6 to 10 inches of snow. Some of this snow falling in the near term as well and just continuing into that time frame as we're watching a lake effect coming off the lakes there, indicating that foot-plus total there into the west central part of New York. As you come down through south central parts of Vermont, lots of spots 6 to 10 inches of snow. Same goes with New Hampshire. Same goes with Maine. This is going to be Saturday night into Sunday morning especially. All of Massachusetts expecting at least some snow, with most of the state, including Boston to Worcester, all the way back to the west side of the state, looking at anywhere from around 6 to 9 inches of snow in general. There will be some locally higher or locally higher or lower amounts in all of these areas, so keep that in mind. Down here into parts of Connecticut, Rhode Island, about 4 to 6 inches of snow, I think, can be expected. We could see a brief transition to freezing rain at the end of this event. And then down here is where things get dicey, where we see these 2 to 4 inch snow totals, or even some spots getting closer to 5 inches there as you come out of parts of northeast Pennsylvania into northern New Jersey, into parts of Long Island. Even New York City, you could get upwards of 3 to 5 inches of snow as this event begins into Saturday evening. But as this event goes on, you'd be transitioning over to some ice, and that's why your snow totals quickly drop off down to the southwest of that. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, down to the southwest, looking like mainly an ice event out of this particular storm. In fact, let's look at that freezing rain forecasted totals here by the National Digital Forecast Database. Lots of spots there coming out of Pennsylvania into New Jersey, looking at about 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch of ice. That's going to be enough to cause some power outage issues, some issues on those roadways as well, and those will extend back through parts of Maryland into eastern West Virginia and the northern parts of the state of Virginia. By the way, don't want to leave you out there in the Ohio Valley. A little bit of ice in some of these zones and back over to the Midwest. You see that corridor there of ice anywhere from southeast Nebraska through south central Iowa, north central Illinois, north central Indiana, and then into northern Ohio. Watch out for some slick spots in these zones, but especially into Ohio and then into Pennsylvania, points around there. That's where your main threat for especially a few isolated power outages will be, and those more significant roadway disruptions out of this particular winter storm. I apologize, everyone. Still getting over the flu. It takes a little while. Let's go back on over here now, though, and give you a look at that winter storm that we could get as we go into next week. There it is. Looks like it's going to be mainly rain as we go out of Monday into Tuesday down here. Maybe some thunderstorms from Texas all the way up to Tennessee, points in between. On the north side of that, some snow. And then we're on to another one, which could be even larger scale and could bring snow to major metros, including places like Chicago. Next week is going to be an active time, and I'll be keeping you updated on all of it right here on the channel. Now, I do have 44 people, and I have 8 likes. I'm not too worried about the likes on the stream, as this is literally a very quick update. This is about the maximum amount of information I'm going to be putting into this quick update, as we've really poured out a lot of the information on all of these storms through the last few videos and live streams. A couple of things I did want to inquire about, though, that I think I'm going to be able to pull up here as we go towards the conclusion of this stream already. Let's pull this graphic up real quick while I find what I was going to be asking about here. If you are with me here in this live stream at this point in time, I'd love it if you're ready to chime in down below in the live chat. I want a thumbs up or a thumbs down for this graphic that I'm about to show you. This is an example like what this winter storm that we're seeing as we go into this weekend. Okay, here you go. You should be able to see this. Is that a good thumbnail? Do you like the look of that thumbnail? It says round number 1, and it shows this winter storm that we're going to be getting as we go into this weekend. This is just a sample thumbnail. I kind of flirt with different types of thumbnails and kind of bring them back and forth. Just want some input. Thumbs up, thumbs down in the comments section. And I will answer some of your questions if you have those down below as well. Do you like this, though? Could I use this type of style in thumbnails in the future? As many of you as are on here, I'd love to see your thumbs ups or thumbs downs about this in the live chat down below. Got a thumbs up down below. Alright, while we wait on thumbs ups and thumbs downs regarding... Yeah, we're not too worried about what the thumbnail's showing. Christian Chambers. We're not too worried about that. We're just looking at kind of checking on if this thumbnail's good or not. Would it be good? But yeah, let's talk about that question for Nebraska for next week real quick, and then we're probably going to wrap this stream up, just trying to keep it quick here. So, if we look at the GFS ensemble latest projection here, there we go. It is looking like southeast Nebraska is going to have a brief chance for some snow as we go out of Monday into Tuesday of next week. And then beyond that, another chance that could be quite elevated for better snowfall, possibly, especially that far southeastern part, as we go towards around Wednesday into Thursday with that next winter storm. In terms of the total snowfall being anticipated in that region, here is a look at ensemble guidance, which blended guidance is showing upwards of at least 3 inches of snow in southeast Nebraska by Thursday of next week. That includes anything from around Monday to Tuesday, and then that next round after that. With that being said, though, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm probably going to delete this live stream. It was just meant to be a very quick update right here on the channel. Intended to do one video as we get into this upcoming weekend, and then we'll have some more videos or live stream updates into next week as well. Probably going to do a video tomorrow on Saturday. We'll see about Sunday for now.